report in Foreign Policy magazine that Russia intends to target Ukrainian politicians and dissidents for assassination or arrest. Are you aware of any plans to provide security for President Zelensky or others?
I've seen those reports. We've seen those reports, and I can't, of course, speak to intelligence matters or hypotheticals. We would be very concerned about any actions that would target political critics or vulnerable populations, as I think is what that report is conveying, if I'm correct, such as religious and ethnic minorities or LGBTQ persons. We have in the past seen Russia try to force acquiescence through intimidation and repression. But given it's hypothetical and I can't speak to it further, I can't give you any prediction of security assistance.
I want to ask you a question about gas prices specifically. Can you explain, if there is any, the reticence to embrace the calls for the gas tax holiday?
Well, we've said every option is on the table, including that, but a decision has not been made.
Is there any reticence here to do that?
I don't know if that's called reticence. It's just that a decision hasn't been made in a process yet. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. Just a quick follow-up on the Russian response. Has the president reviewed it yet?
Again, I don't have any update on that. What I can tell you is that our efforts remain having continued diplomatic conversations with our counterparts in Russia, as is evidenced by the Secretary of State's plans for next Wednesday, unless they, of course, invade, and the president's engagements that he is a part of at this point in time. But I think it's important to note that when we look at how we're going to engage in diplomacy, it's also important that we look at how Russia is responding, right? And Russia's threats of war, if their demands aren't met, are inconsistent with diplomacy. So we are going to leave the door open, but I think the Secretary of State's commitment to, or openness to meeting or to engaging with his counterpart is evidence of that.
And I know you got a question on the call that's happening as we speak, probably with the transatlantic leaders. Just on the president's framing of this, does he see this as getting the allies on the same page as a final check-in before an anticipated invasion, given that he said he's expecting it within the next several days?
It's a part of our ongoing engagement, so I wouldn't put it in those terms. We are united. We are with our allies. I think you will hear him convey that when he speaks to all of you shortly. But it is also important to stay in close touch. I wouldn't say this is the last time he's going to talk with them or talk with these counterparts in the coming days at all. He's been talking with his counterparts nearly every single day. But with the point we're at right now is, of course, over the last few days, we've seen reports of a rapid uptick of violations of the ceasefire agreement, including the shelling of a Ukrainian kindergarten yesterday. More and more disinformation is being pushed out to the public. We know this is consistent with the playbook for invasion, and we believe they are positioned to attack. So, of course, it's an important moment to have a conversation with his counterparts, but I would expect those to be ongoing.